Some soldiers of the rebellion army, also known as FRFN, in fact constituting the armed branch of RHDP, and dressed up in Blue Berets military uniforms, have attacked with heavy weapons a checkpoint of the police located in the neighborhood of the Gulf Hotel in Abidjan, headquarters of the candidate Alassane Ouattara. In Tiebissou, Bangolo, Logwale and Diokwe, the FRFN who attacked the FDS, the regular armed forces of Côte d'Ivoire, have been supplied with weapons and ammunition by the vehicles and helicopters of the United Nations operation in Côte d'Ivoire. In Yamoussoukro, the demonstrators of RHDP were transported in the cars of United Nations operation in Côte d'Ivoire throughout the town for their meetings and to commit violent acts against the police. The acts of collusion above mentioned leads us to think that the arms and particularly the ammunition that the FRFN used have been supplied by the United Nations operation in Côte d'Ivoire, who declared in a report entitled Processus DDR-SSR in Côte d'Ivoire, dated September 30th, 2010, that the FRFN didn't have any ammunition. In accordance with what precedes, the state of Côte d'Ivoire considered that the United Nations operation in Côte d'Ivoire have been found guilty for serious inappropriate outbursts, which undoubtedly makes it an agent of destabilization, which contributed more to divide the Ivorian people. Given that all those acts are not contributing to bringing peace back to the country, the Ivorian government considers that the United Nations operation in Côte d'Ivoire failed in its mission, doing some actions which are not in accordance with its mandate. Because of the serious inappropriate outbursts previously mentioned, the President of the Republic of Côte d'Ivoire, Laurent Gbagbo, has just asked the immediate departure of the United Nations operation in Côte d'Ivoire and the French troops who support it. To supervise and support the process of a pacific end of the crisis in this country, President Laurent Gbagbo, whose regime has been facing the armed rebellion since 2002, invited the United Nations in Côte d'Ivoire to contribute to a mission of interposition and peace. The United Nations decided through the resolution 1528 of April 4, 2004, to create the United Nations operation in Côte d'Ivoire, UNOCI, as from April 4, 2004. Unfortunately, as in Congo Belge, with Patrice Emery Lumumba in 1960, the United Nations operation in Côte d'Ivoire, who takes order from the Western power countries, turns its weapons and blue berets on Laurent Gbagbo and the people of Côte d'Ivoire. Since the second turn of the presidential election in Côte d'Ivoire, Ban Ki-moon, Secretary General of the United Nations, Yonggi Choi, is representative in Côte d'Ivoire under the pressure of France. The European Union and their allies perverted the mission of the United Nations in Côte d'Ivoire.
Two armored vehicles of the United Nations operation in Côte d'Ivoire took position near Hotel Pullman next to the Bissau Central Bank of West African States. Some young Ivorians came close to those armored vehicles and asked their occupants to leave, telling them that their place should be at their base and nowhere else. The United Nations operation troops fired several shots in the air. Some people even said that they shot at the crowd and that there might be some wounded people. This kind of behavior of troops meant to be dedicated to peace on behalf of the international community is unacceptable. Anyway, this is not the first time that we should point out the blameworthy behavior of the United Nations operation troops in Côte d'Ivoire. Ban Ki-moon, Secretary General of the United Nations, in a report dated May 2007, pointed out the responsibility of his troops concerning, on one hand, violent acts perpetrated on the Ivorian people in some district of Abidjan, and on the other hand, the passiveness of his troops when located in the north and west of Côte d'Ivoire. They witnessed violence exerted on women and children without helping or protecting them. So if the troops of the United Nations operation in Côte d'Ivoire henceforth decide to create a tense atmosphere, it's time that at the Security Council we rise up to ask for a more appropriate control on the use and management of the troops than the actual one in Ban Ki-moon's hand. What is Ban Ki-moon presently looking for? And there you have the explanation on the behavior of the troops now on the field. Create a tense atmosphere in order to obtain, in fact, the okay from the Security Council. The United Nations operation in Côte d'Ivoire showed that it is no more a neutral force in Côte d'Ivoire. In fact, the United Nations operation in Côte d'Ivoire has come with an underground mission which we don't know. That is to remove Laurent Gbagbo from power. For them to achieve this goal, the United Nations operation in Côte d'Ivoire troops are in front line and the rebels hide themselves behind.
The Blue Berets of the United Nations operation in Côte d'Ivoire have become a belligerent army of destabilization in Côte d'Ivoire, an army firmly and determinedly engaged on the side of rebels against the Republican institutions and against President Laurent Gbagbo.
According to trustworthy information coming from the CNO regions, which means center, north, and west of the country, ruled by the rebel Force Nouvelle, information which the headquarters of the regular forces have, 2,000 Blue Berets might have disembarked in Bouaké lately in order to be sent to Abidjan so that they could attack the symbols representing the institution of the Republic of Côte d'Ivoire. The same sources of information reveals important supplying of 4x4 vehicles to the rebel troops from a country bordering Côte d'Ivoire in the north. Those vehicles will also be sent to the south of the country via the United Nations operation in Côte d'Ivoire. To do so, those vehicles are being painted in the United Nations colors in a garage located at Gonfreville, Bouaké, says the same source of information. The goal is clear. The elements of the rebellion, with the help of their usual international support, would massively go to the Ivorian economic capital and other towns on the front lines in order to execute their project of attacking, doing acts of sabotage and introducing war in urban areas so they could kill innocent populations. The expected effects are to provoke an outrage and general uprising of the civilians against the regular security forces which are supposed to ensure their protection. As a matter of fact, in this same logic, some persistent information reveals that some of those 4x4 vehicles will bear the initials of SECOS, which means Security Operation Command Center, a unit belonging to the regular army. Faced with such scheme of villainous inspiration, the Defense and Security Force of Côte d'Ivoire ensured the Ivorian stout-hearted population living all over the Ivorian territory that they will do their best to identify those vehicles, thereby will stand in the way of those infamous acts of perfidy.
By order of Mr. Choi, the United Nations operation in Côte d'Ivoire supplied the rebels with weapons, food at the Gulf Hotel, and the Blue Berets fight on their side. The troops of the rebellion, helped by the military staff of the United Nations operation in Côte d'Ivoire, prepare the attack, setting up, taking up position in trenches on the battlefield, the Blue Berets by the side of a rebellion against the regular forces. The sight of this scene is unbelievable.
RPG 1. RBG 1. Il faut descendre un peu. Allez, tu donnes, mets-toi à genoux. Tu vas voir, pancarte là. Allume. Pancarte là. Pancarte là. Aïe. Bah. Ok, comme ça. Venez, le coucher sur le ventre. Pas sur le ventre. Mais vous, attendez tout le monde. Vous viez porter des coups de tirer. Pourquoi? J'ai soigné ma main. La liste de la cité là, venez ici. Tout va rentrer quand les gens ne vont pas rentrer. Disent que non.